tempo è arrivato, signori. Siamo pronti. Grazie.
So that's the person who's being described all over American television, including on channels that should know better, as, quote, far right. That's far right, really? Because she acknowledges that American families are under attack? Of course they are. You think it's accidental? No. And she explains why. And it's simple. If you want to establish totalitarian control over a country, of course you have to destroy the family first. Because nobody with deep family loyalty, the one thing every person should have, no one who has that will ever pledge absolute obedience to a politician. Why would you? So if you want absolute obedience, you have to sever family ties. And that's why state schools brainwash your children with values that you despise and then instruct your children to turn you in as a thought criminal if you object. That's happening. It's not your imagination, and it's happening for a reason. Wokeness is not just a political ideology. It's not just something annoying that emerged on college campuses that we can ignore. It's a state religion that supplants actual religion, which is also being destroyed. There's a reason the strip bars and the liquor stores and the weed dispensaries stayed open under COVID, but the churches didn't. If you can't draw the connection between those dots, you're missing it. But Bologna didn't miss it. She understands it perfectly. Watch.
Only a few months ago, European Union bureaucrats wrote a document hundreds of pages long, telling us that in order to be inclusive, we had to exclude all references to Christmas. Jesus, Mary, and all Christian names were to be removed from all official communication. Will we surrender in front of this? No, we will not. We will fight it. We will fight it standing tall.
So they hate your family, they hate your religion, and you don't actually have to put up with it because it's a democracy and you're supposed to be in charge, you being the population. That's a radical message. God, family, country. That's not radical. It's hard to imagine a more wholesome message, a more pro-human platform. Fascists don't believe in God because God is a rival to their power. Of course. This is a person publicly professing faith in God. That's so scary, but it is so scary. It's so scary to the people running and benefiting from our current system. And why is that? She's not the first person to say this. People have said it before, but she's just been rewarded for saying it. That's the point. The population likes it. This is what they actually want. They're not that worried about global warming. They don't want open borders. They think the woke stuff is absurd. They want to say what they think. And now it's obvious because she just won. And so even in this country, the people running and benefiting from a deeply corrupt and doomed system are hysterical. Watch the reaction to that.
I want to start today by talking about a politician on the right who we should all be worried about, who's on the rise today. A politician who has brushed off accusations of fascism.
What separates us from, let's say, Italy, who elected a fascist?
She is from fascist roots.
A far-right political party whose roots go back to post-World War II neo-fascist.
A party that has its roots in Italian fascism.
Its roots in Italian fascism. Define that for us, if you would, Joe Scarborough. Oh, sorry. You're an idiot. You can't. But the point is, fascist means unacceptable. Whatever this chick is saying, you're not allowed to agree with. They're very worried that many Italians do agree with it. So she has to be completely unacceptable. Don't read further. She's a fascist. And in case you missed the theme, a recent New York Times piece on Maloney mentioned fascism or fascist 29 times. Not a subtle newspaper. Apparently she's on the verge of invading Poland. We should be worried. Watch this.
They said it could never happen again. 100 years ago, Mussolini marching on Rome, plunging the country into 2 decades of dictatorship, an alliance with Hitler, and a Second World War. Today, the fascist party is gone, but many say these are their political heirs, the Brothers of Italy. Once on the fringes, they've ballooned into the biggest party in the country. Now their leader, Giorgia Meloni, is poised to head the most hard-right government since Il Duce. Pinochet. The 45-year-old firebrand insists she's no fascist, just a proud conservative and nationalist, comfortable, nevertheless, with some of the hallmarks of Italian fascism, like this motto: God, fatherland, and family.
God, family, country. Well, that's pretty scary. Not a word about climate or equity. But again, it's their hysteria and their total unwillingness to ask obvious questions that lets you in on the secret, which is they're panicked because they know the current system is doomed. And in fact, what happened last night in Italy is the best case scenario for them because it was a peaceful transfer of power. That's a good thing. That's what you want. In a democracy, people should be allowed to have some influence on the priorities of the government that claims to represent them. And when they speak in an election, the people who've been repudiated have a moral obligation to pause just for 1 second and ask, why didn't they like what I was offering them? They have a right to an opinion. In fact, their opinion is at the center of our system, this democracy. But they never ask themselves that. They never take any blame whatsoever. They didn't in 2016 when Trump got elected. They immediately blamed Putin or Macedonian bot farms. They never blame themselves. And so they never learned a single thing from what happened. That's exactly what's happening, not simply in American television, but also in Italy and also in the European Union. The bureaucrats who drove Italians to seek a change peacefully at the ballot box are completely unwilling to learn from that vote. They'll just keep ramming their unpopular garbage down the throats of a deeply ungrateful nation until there's an actual rebellion. Let's hope that doesn't happen. All of this got us thinking about politicians in this country who dare to tell the truth and are attacked for it, and Kari Lake was at the very top of that list.